I am almost 30 years old and I'm still a virgin, and that I'm still an incel, and you know, haven't had a relationship with a woman for the past 9 years, or 10 years almost, without a woman in my life. So it's been devastating for me.
This is a documentary about a secret movement in America which is making its way to the surface. In the past, incels existed behind closed doors and in front of brightly lit computer screens, chatting on cringy forums. But recently, some of them made shocking headlines around the country. This documentary will examine the incel movement and its ideology. It will explain the history behind this movement, and it will propose a way for us to solve the unwilling virgin dilemma. I am the trusted source, and this is Inceldom. Sexually unsuccessful organisms have existed since the dawn of life. Human males have been no exception. Some guys that want to get laid or find an intimate relationship will ultimately fail in this endeavor. This failure to obtain a romantic partner could be for a variety of reasons, like fear or lack of trying, low confidence or self-esteem, too high of standards, mouth breathing, hideousness, or just one's general cringe factor. Through the generation, these men fought mostly private battles with their unfuckability. However, right at the turn of the 21st century, all this was about to change due to the rise of the internet. In 1993, a Canadian known as Alana started a website known as Alana's Involuntary Celibacy Project. This website was for people to discuss their complete lack of sex with others. The term incel was first used here. Incel stands for involuntary celibate, meaning one who wishes to have sex and intimacy but is failing to attain it. 10 years later, in 2003, the website named loveshy.com was made for people who were perpetually rejected, or who were too scared to even try approaching a sexual partner, so that they could discuss their failings in securing love. The incels who fought the battle of being sexless alone for all of humanity's history, now using the internet, started uniting, and like a hive mind of dissatisfied rage, began to simmer. Soon websites like Vote, 4chan, and Reddit began to be utilized as platforms of discussion for the growing incel community. Membership in some communities was as high as 50,000. And in this cauldron of sexual repression, an entire disenfranchised ideology had emerged.
We're kind of living in two different worlds right now, okay? We were raised to believe something that isn't true. And that's if, you know, all you gotta do, you just gotta be a nice stand-up guy, get a nice job, find that nice girl, get your nice white picket fence and your dog and your kids, and see, that's not gonna be going on anymore. You can see the statistics for yourself. And this was like 3 years ago, the majority of children were being born to unwed mothers. Guys don't want to get married, because then they get fucked. Alimony, child support. Your wife gets fat, wife doesn't fuck them anymore. There's some statistics people will say. They'll say, oh, well, you know, the majority of guys have female partners. The majority of guys get married. The majority of guys have children. But why is there so many divorces? Why are these children growing up in broken homes? I'll tell you why. Because the women, they get the good taste of the genetically superior men. They get that taste, and they will still get married eventually, and they'll be fucking miserable because every single day of their life they'll be thinking back to when they got gangbanged by the football team in the locker room. That's what they wanted. They got chosen by genetically superior men, and they had these experiences with genetically superior men, and then eventually get locked down by some genetically inferior man who just happens to, you know, be a little more stable. We call these the beta bucks. the beta cucks, they settle down and they're fucking miserable. That's why they get fat. That's why they don't have sex with you. If they were able to, you know, lock down a genetically superior male, and that happens. It happens. Those couples continue to have healthy sex lives. Those, you know, they stay in shape and they take care of themselves because they're happy. They're happy that they're with a genetically superior male. The women who get fat, the women who don't have sex, it's because they're fucking miserable because they already got a taste of the good life. Or even if they didn't, it's out there. They see it. They're watching TV. They're watching the hunks on TV. They're watching they're reading the male models in the fucking magazines on Tumblr or wherever they're at. And they're seeing the good stuff. They're seeing the good life and they're thinking, I deserve that. Why don't I have that? I'm fucking miserable. I'm gonna get fat and I'm gonna get my revenge on this loser that I had to marry. He's not gonna be able to have a sexy wife. He's not gonna be able to have this because he doesn't deserve it. He's genetically inferior scum. He's trash. That's what they're thinking. And that's just how it is.
While not all incels are the same, one of the prevailing philosophical takes within their communities on their pitiful state of existence, known as the black pill, can be summed up by nihilistic hatred and self-pity. The incel ideology describes the world as where women, or femoids, desire only the top 20% of men, who are known as chads. Chads are those men who are tall, attractive, athletic, and most importantly, rich. While women are described as not having the same problem, because this idea known as female hypergamy claims that almost all women would not be happy with anything short of a superb male partner, while the men desire women in general, and most would be happy with a partner about as good as themselves. Inside the incel community, many deny the ability of women to even be incels, unless they're at the absolute bottom 10% of attractiveness or have some sort of major disfigurement. They consider almost all women as roasties, or sexually active women. Roasties are broken down into two subcategories: the Stacys, or sexually active attractive women, and the Beckys, or sexually active unattractive women. Incels themselves are broken down into their own respective subgroups, some of which are Marcels, or married incels who are in a sexless marriage, Nearcels, who are almost like incels but still get laid on rare occasion, Heightcels, or incels who blame their shortness for their unfuckability. There are also fake cells, who are people who say they're incels but are actually in reality sexually active. There are volcels, who are voluntary celibates who are either asexual or part of the MGTOW movement, which stands for men going their own way. The MGTOW movement does not necessarily tell men not to have sex, but instead cautions them against getting into any serious relationships with women, and especially against getting involved in a marriage or having children. Diving deeper into the black pill ideology, we see that the views that govern the world in the minds of the incels are dramatically bleak and hopeless for the situation incels find themselves in. They believe in biological determinism, which states that women have all the power in selecting their mate in Western modern society, and due to this, only men with superior facial bone structure and frame or wealth will be the only ones who women will choose.
You could piss on them, they don't care. You could be a fucking homeless loser, they don't care. You know, as long as you're genetically superior from day one, height, bone structure, that's what matters. That's all that matters, okay? So I'm just trying to get through to you guys right now. You know, I'm really trying to just hammer it home, you know, and it's not, you know, guys are, you know, people are thinking, oh, it's so pessimistic, hopeless. No, I mean, we got the Oculus Rift coming out next year, got all this virtual reality. You can be happy, even if it is just, you know, if it's delusion, if it's, coping, you can be happy eventually. You know, you could have your those two-dimensional women. I mean, look at Japan. You know, they're kind of, you know, and I'm not. I mean, it's kind of across the board, every country. You know, because it's just, you know, it's human nature. you can look at Japan, you know, they've got their shops full of body pillows and figurines and everything that men are kind of coping with, or kind of, you know, supplicating themselves with to, you know, be able to kind of keep going through life in a happy way. Even maybe they're not very happy, but I mean, it's something.
In short, pussy is only for the chads of the world. Reflecting on the digital age of the internet and smartphone dating, at any given time women have access to hundreds of chads within a few mile radius. Thus, average and especially below average men simply do not stand a chance. Incels think women are all very simple creatures that are biologically hardwired to want only a couple of very specific traits in a romantic partner. Thus, incels believe their lives are governed by a tragic fatalism, that they are all destined by fate to never attract a partner and to be celibate forever. Incels believe they will stay perpetually single, as chads are always mogging them, meaning completely outdoing them in the eyes of women by their superior aesthetic. They are doomed to remain inside the bitter chasm of Inceldom forever alone. Once this ideology of the black pill has been adopted and the incel community is left to figure out amongst themselves how to live the life of perpetual failure to secure what they see as a vital need, like air, food, or water, the need for sex and intimacy, they try desperately to find creative solutions. First, they discuss an idea known as looks maxing, meaning to maximize their looks to attract women by working out, dressing better, gaining or losing weight, or even plastic surgery.
I realize this is probably just some sort of incel dream fantasy at this point, to some extent. You know, it would be nice to experience during, you know, some summer, not feeling like shit, feeling great, having made lots of progress on getting in shape and feeling strong, although that is sort of controllable, you know. But also meeting a girl and getting to know her over the summer and just sort of forming a relationship. Wouldn't that be an awesome feeling, folks? Something that makes you feel like it's worth going on, right? It's worth going on, and, you know, that your life, I don't know.
They see improving their looks and financial status as the only way to raise their fuckability. Incels discuss other options, such as renting prostitutes, buying sex dolls, getting sexual surrogates, or even rape. Ideas about the government stepping in and taking the power of consent away from women and assigning them to men to ensure equal sexual conquest for all. Like some sort of a dystopian sexual Marxism. Some critics of this idea have rightfully condemned it as state-sanctioned rape. When they hit the dead end in these attempts and given completely to the black pill ideology of never-ending loneliness, dark ideas begin to surface. Once incels reach the point where they no longer believe their need for sex will ever be attained, the endless hopelessness of their worldview weighs heavily on them. Some begin promoting suicide as a way out of their agony. Some promote violence against women and chads. These calls for violence and suicide end up being acted upon offline, in RL, or real life, if you will. Many incels have been known to take their own life. A few incels have even been involved in mass murders, or what they call retributions, for their miserable destiny. Among them, the two most notable incels have been Elliot Rogers, who was responsible for the 2014 Isla Vista killings, leaving 7 dead and 14 injured, and Alec Manassian, who was suspected to have perpetrated the 2018 Toronto van attacks, killing 10 and injuring 16. Also, these men, after their rampages, are treated like martyrs and saints in the incel communities for taking their own lives and the lives of others. They are praised and glorified. Their deeds are seen as inspirational and heroic. To the collection of people whose ideology leaves them no hope for a better future, lashing out or ending it altogether becomes the only viable course of action.
Hi, Elliot Roger here. Well, this is my last video. It all has to come to this. Tomorrow is the day of retribution. The day in which I will have my revenge against humanity, against all of you. For the last 8 years of my life, ever since I've hit puberty, I've been forced to endure an existence of loneliness, rejection, and unfulfilled desires, all because girls have never been attracted to me. Girls gave their affection and sex and love to other men, but never to me. I'm 22 years old and still a virgin. I've never even kissed a girl. It has been very torturous. College is the time when everyone experiences those things such as sex and fun and pleasure. But in those years, I've had to rot in loneliness. It's not fair. You girls have never been attracted to me. I don't know why you girls aren't attracted to me, but I will punish you all for it. It's an injustice, a crime, because I don't know what you don't see in me. I'm the perfect guy. And yet you throw yourselves at all these obnoxious men, instead of me, the supreme gentleman.
As the viewer watching this, you yourself may have been plummeted into the pit of hopeless despair, because there seems to be no simple answers for the incel crisis. However, at the beginning of this documentary, I promised to bring a solution, and I will hold to that promise. The solution I propose is simple. The solution is to eliminate the problem. The solution is to eliminate all incels. You may at this point be shocked and may interpret my words as a call for genocide, but I assure you it is not. When saying eliminate all incels, I mean eliminating the possibility for any to self-identify as an incel. The idea of sexual Marxism that came from the incel community is completely absurd on its own, because it completely overlooks consent and involves the government letting them make decisions on who should mate with whom. However, what if we tweak this idea? What I am proposing is to start a sex charity. Like the food bank that feeds the hungry, this would be a charity brothel that meets the needs of those lacking intimacy or sex. If we can have enough people volunteer their time, money, and bodies to meet the needs of all incels at least once every 6 months, they would literally be eliminated as a movement. They would not be able to imagine a completely hopeless future if they have an outlet. There would no longer be any incels. The entire black pill idea would disappear. Most importantly, there will be no government involved. If it is a private charity, the consent of women would be respected because all the intimacy donors would be volunteers. Now I can already hear the naysayers banging away into the comments section that no woman would ever volunteer to fuck incels. My response for you is that you are simply wrong. Women, like men, use their sexuality for many reasons. To gratify themselves, to manipulate others, to secure wealth or power, to build self-confidence, to increase their appeal in someone else's eyes, to bear offspring, and for many other reasons. This sort of volunteer work would allow women to use their sexuality to literally make the world a better place. And this would appeal to women who want to use their sexuality for works of selfless good. They can literally use their sexuality to heal the world. Their sexuality can lift men out of the deepest chasms of despair. Their sexuality can literally save lives of victims of violence and suicide. Their sexuality can change the world. This is the reason women will volunteer and eliminate Inceldom, and with it the poison of the black pill. If you would like to see more of my documentaries, please subscribe and check out my YouTube channel. If you would like to help me fund these documentaries, please support me on Patreon at patreon.com/trustyoursources. Your support will make this channel thrive, and I thank you all for it. This has been a production of your trusted source, and I wish you all the love.